Kamino is a planet hidden away in the far reaches of wild space, a long way from the core. It's an aquatic world that would come to play a key part in the Star Wars story, taking a central role in the events of the Clone Wars and the early days of the Galactic Empire. Lifeforms that can be found on Kamino include Airwas, also known as air whales, which the Kaminoans used as mounts to travel from city to city, especially during the planet's electrical storms, which plagues the planet for parts of its year. There are also Komorodon sea dragons which prowl the oceans in search of prey to feast on. In legends, these creatures weren't actually native to Kamino, but they were genetically engineered versions of the Kolo clawfish from Naboo. Now, the dominant species on Kamino were the Kaminoans, tall, thin amphibians with vast scientific interests in both cloning and genetic engineering. They were generally isolationists, keeping themselves separated from the rest of the galaxy and only daring to engage with the outside world if it could bring them a profit. Now, despite its later appearances, Kamino wasn't always covered in oceans. Thousands of years prior to the Clone Wars, the planet did have habitable islands where the native Kaminoans lived and developed their culture. At some point, the last great ice age of Kamino ended and water levels rose drastically, leading the Kaminoans to build their stilt-based homes that would later become the dedicated cloning facilities that they became famous for. It was this great flood that became the source of the great cloning skills that the Kaminoans possessed. In order to survive the extinction level events, they were forced to use genetic engineering and selective breeding in order to ensure their future. Now, many years of developing these skills led to Jedi Master Cypher Diaz travelling to Kamino in 33 BBY to order a massive clone army for the Republic. This came after he had had a vision that foretold the coming galactic war. After he was killed by the Sith, Darth Sidious and Count Dooku took over the project and hired bounty hunter Jango Fett to serve as the genetic template for the clones, and after years of production, the order was completed, setting up the events of the Clone Wars. Tipoca City, the capital of Kamino, served as its hub for the cloning facilities. This was where the clones were created, raised, and trained. It was the centre of a couple of battles due to its importance to the Republic war effort, but each attack was repelled and Kamino stood until the end of the war. And following the end of the Clone Wars, the new Galactic Empire switched its military focus away from clones towards cheaper stormtroopers. There were also issues around the inhibitor chips that the Kaminoans had implanted in the clones. This was a secret that Emperor Palpatine wanted to ensure never got out to the general public. So, after the remaining clones had been evacuated and the most prominent scientists secured, the order was given to destroy all facilities on Kamino, sending their cities back to the depths of the oceans and killing the majority of their population. The Empire covered up this near genocide by stating that a cataclysmic storm had ravaged the planet, but the truth was revealed to the Imperial Senate. But Emperor Palpatine was a step ahead and managed to portray the events as an Imperial Admiral having gone rogue and used it to further discredit the clones who had taken part in their world's destruction. Now, not much is known of what happened to Kamino during the Galactic Civil War and the events after the fall of the Empire, but according to the Galaxy of Creatures, by the time of 34 ABY, there was a city that had been reconstructed on Kamino with a small number of surviving Kaminoans attempting to rebuild their society. The tale of Kamino is a tragic one, a planet that encountered both natural and man-made disasters, its people almost being destroyed by the treachery of the Sith, their gifts having been used and manipulated to subjugate the galaxy under the iron fist of the Empire. There is no doubt that Kamino plays an extremely important part in the story of Star Wars. And there we have the history of Kamino. Like Geonosis, the planet suffered for its association with Darth Sidious. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please leave a like. Be sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you for watching, and I will see you for the next one.